So here's what went down in the courtroom that had everyone talking. When Sean Diddy Combs walked into the Manhattan courtroom, things were expected to be pretty serious. After all, this is part of a major federal case that could change his life forever. But, to everyone's surprise, the judge actually started the day with some jokes, and they were about Diddy himself. The judge, whose name is Arun Subramanian, took a moment to joke about Diddy's long list of stage names. If you didn't know, Diddy has gone by a bunch of different names over the years, like Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and just Diddy. The judge poked fun at this and got the whole courtroom laughing. Some people in the gallery couldn't hold back their smiles, and even court reporters started writing down the funny moment right away, trying to capture it for the headlines. But Diddy? He didn't laugh at all. He just sat there, very serious, wearing his glasses and not reacting to the jokes. While the judge's comments were clearly meant to lighten the mood, it was still a strange moment in what is otherwise a very serious case. That wasn't the only thing the judge joked about either. He also made a funny comment about the jury questionnaire, the form that people have to fill out if they might be picked to be on the jury. He said it was so long and detailed, it felt like reading the extended cut of The Lord of the Rings. You know, the super long version of the movie. That made everyone laugh again because it's a funny way to describe a boring legal form. This moment was kind of unusual because courtrooms are usually really serious, especially in big trials like this. But it showed that even in tough situations, judges sometimes use humor to help break the tension. Still, some people online are saying the jokes might have been a little too much, especially since Diddy is facing very serious charges. Others think it was just a way to make the jury selection process a little more relaxed. In the end, the judge's jokes definitely got attention. It gave the media something unexpected to talk about, and it added a strange twist to the start of a case that's being watched all over the country. Let's talk about the serious side of Diddy's courtroom drama. While the judge's jokes made headlines, there's no denying that what Diddy is facing is very serious. This isn't just about bad press or online rumors. Sean Diddy Combs is being hit with big-time federal charges, and they could land him in prison for the rest of his life if he's found guilty. So, what exactly is he being charged with? Diddy is facing 5 major criminal charges in a federal court. These aren't minor things. 2 of the charges say that he transported people across state lines for inappropriate and illegal reasons, basically, using his money and power to control where people went and what they did. Another 2 charges are connected to forcing people into uncomfortable situations that they didn't agree to. The final charge accuses him of running a type of secret plan or operation over several years, using threats, gifts, and his status as a celebrity to get what he wanted. Prosecutors, that's the team trying to prove Diddy did something wrong, say that he used private jets, fancy hotel rooms, and even tour buses to move people from city to city. Places like Miami, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas were all mentioned. They believe he made it hard for certain people to leave or say no, and that he used his fame to make everything look normal or cool from the outside. What makes this even more shocking is that these aren't just random claims. The government says they have a ton of evidence. We're talking about travel records, emails, phone call logs, and even people who are going to testify in court, meaning they'll get up on the witness stand and tell the judge and jury what they saw or went through. Some of the people involved have already filed lawsuits against Diddy in the past, and now those details are being used in this case. If Diddy is found guilty of all these charges, he could lose more than just his freedom. He might also have to give up his homes, expensive cars, and even money he earns from his music and businesses. That's how big this case is. It's not just about jail time, it's about everything he's built over his career. Diddy says he's not guilty and that everything that happened was between consenting adults. His lawyers are ready to fight hard in court to prove his innocence. But for now, the trial is just getting started, and the charges alone have already made headlines around the world. So yeah, this case isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is the kind of thing that could change Diddy's life and the music industry forever. Here's one of the biggest surprises in Diddy's court case so far. He turned down a chance to make a deal with the government that could have helped him avoid a longer prison sentence. Let's break down exactly what that means and why it matters so much. In court, prosecutors, the people trying to prove Diddy did something illegal, gave him a plea deal. A plea deal is like a trade. If Diddy agreed to say he was guilty of certain crimes, the court might give him a lighter punishment, like fewer years in prison. That might sound like a smart move, right? especially when you're facing some really serious charges. But when the judge asked him if he wanted to accept the deal, Diddy stood up in court and said clearly, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," meaning yes, he rejects the offer. He was wearing a beige jail uniform and stayed calm and serious as he made his choice. So why would he say no? According to his lawyers, Diddy believes he's completely innocent. He's not willing to admit to something he says he didn't do, not even to avoid jail time. His team says this case is bigger than just one man. They say Diddy wants to stand up for himself, for his family, and even for others who felt wrongly accused or treated unfairly by the government. In other words, he's not just trying to save his reputation. He wants to make a statement. But here's the risk. By rejecting the deal, Diddy is now going to trial, which means a jury will hear all the evidence and decide whether he's guilty or not. If they decide he is guilty, he could end up getting a much harsher punishment than if he had just taken the plea deal in the first place. We're talking about the possibility of life in prison. People in the courtroom said Diddy didn't show much emotion when he made this choice. He just took a sip of water and waited to be taken away by U.S. Marshals. His lawyers, though, are determined to fight for him. They're planning to be back in court again, soon to try to get him released before the trial starts. So what does this mean for the case? It means that Diddy is all in. He's risking everything, his freedom, his money, and his legacy, because he believes the truth is on his side. And now, it's up to a jury to decide what happens next. This could be one of the most watched celebrity trials in years. Now let's talk about what's really going on inside the courtroom, and what both sides are getting ready to argue during Diddy's huge trial. This is where things get really serious, because both the prosecutors and Diddy's legal team are coming in with completely different stories. And it'll be up to the jury to figure out who's telling the truth. Let's start with the prosecution. That's the side trying to prove Diddy is guilty. They say they have a huge amount of evidence that shows Diddy used his fame, power, and money to create a plan that hurt people. They're calling it a calculated enterprise, which basically means a well-planned operation that involved more than just Diddy himself. The prosecutors claim he used things like private jets, expensive gifts, and even employees to cover up what was really going on. They say this wasn't just about partying or relationships. They believe there was a pattern of behavior meant to control and pressure people. They plan to bring in witnesses, financial documents, travel records, and even video evidence to prove that Diddy's actions weren't just wrong, they were illegal. They want the jury to see how all the pieces connect, like a puzzle, to show a long-term plan to take advantage of others. But Diddy's defense team says that's not what happened at all. They're telling a very different story. His lawyers argue that what the government is describing as criminal behavior was actually just a lifestyle between consenting adults, meaning everyone involved agreed to what was happening. They say Diddy is being misunderstood and that the prosecutors are blowing things out of proportion by taking gossip, old drama, and business rivalries and turning it into something it's not. They also say that the case is based on rumors, not real facts. In legal documents, Diddy's lawyer said the government is stretching things to make it look worse than it is, and that they've taken pieces from other people's lawsuits to build a case that doesn't hold up. This is where the trial becomes a battle between facts and interpretation. One side says Diddy was running a secret and harmful operation, while the other side says he's just living his life and being judged unfairly because of who he is. And remember, this case is going to be watched all over the country. People want to know, was this about crime, or was it about personal choices? That's what the jury will have to decide. No matter what happens, it's clear this trial is going to be one of the biggest celebrity court cases in years, and the outcome could completely change Diddy's career, and maybe even how the music industry handles power and fame. And that's the latest on Diddy's high-stakes courtroom drama. From surprising jokes by the judge to serious federal charges, a rejected plea deal, and the intense battle ahead between prosecutors and his legal team. No matter which side you're on, one thing's for sure: this trial is going to be one of the most talked about moments in celebrity legal history.